This is poetry from Poetic G. Reality. This is real.
Good evening, ladies and gents. I'm King George. I'm the owner of T.Y.I Productions. I am the curator of Black 31 magazine. And today I'm here with another special brother. This brother is definitely a poet. And this brother is a liberator of strong words for the community. So let's give it up for the brother William Washington. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you,
Brother William Washington, when did you start poetry? How long you been doing poetry? And what is the best thing about poetry you believe?
Man, I've been writing poetry since I was 10, so I'm 65. That's 55 years.
Yeah.
So I've been writing poetry for a long time. But the best thing about poetry is the fact that I can convey a message that I may not have been able to convey orally. You see, I may not be able to get in someone's face and tell them about themselves or discuss politics or the church. But when I'm doing poetry, I can convey those messages to the masses without it being personal.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that, man. I love it. And poetry, how does poetry affect the community, the Black community?
Well, poetry is church. When you see these reverends and ministers get up and give that sermon, that's spoken word, that's poetry, with a godly text. So, poetry will bring a community together because from poetry, you get song. From poetry, you get rap. From poetry, you get jazz. So you reach all aspects of a community through a poem. You can reach all aspects of the community through a poem. The young, the old, the blind, the crippled, and crazy. Some way or another, they can get that word and understand it, but you can reach them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what does it mean to reach the people to you? What does it mean to reach the people?
But that's the whole object of me. I can't speak for anybody else, but my whole life has been being able to orate and touch somebody and touch somebody's soul to heal somebody. Because, I believe if you give out, you receive in. So if my words can heal someone or educate someone, I believe that I'll get that back tenfold. So yes, it's about healing someone, reaching someone's mind, heart, and soul through your words.
Yes. And for a healing period, right? I just want to know how does Brother William Washington deal with pain? How do you deal with pain?
Hey man, I'm just like anybody else. Pain hurts, but like I said, through poetry and prayer. Actually, let me reverse that. Through prayer and then poetry, that's my healing. I'm not an overly religious guy. I didn't grow up in the church, but I've always known God. So between my prayers to God, I found poetry. So yeah, that's how I heal. If I can heal somebody else, I heal 10 times more.
Yes, absolutely. And growing up, how was it for you growing up, and what time did you grow up in, and how did them times shape your poetry?
Well, I was born in '59, so I grew up in the '60s, '70s, '80s, '90s. You know what I'm saying? The 2000s. So I reached more than several decades. And growing up, the poetry didn't really it only affected me in one way. I got closer to the girls. I was shy, inverted, but with my poetry, it brought me closer to the girls. It showed me I didn't have a father figure to teach me how to talk to a woman. So my poetry was a magnet that brought the girls to me and made me open up. I wasn't as shy anymore. I was able to say a pretty word to them or a slick line to them, and I was accepted because I couldn't dance, couldn't sing. So my poetry made me, one of the it guys, where before I was an outcast because I was a loner. I'm still a loner. So poetry has still been able to open doors for me in terms of my social impact. So yeah, poetry. And then in my 20s and 30s and all that, I wasn't so close to poetry because life took over. I was a boxer. I did several sports. I used to box.
Oh
And
wow.
the marriage took over. Yeah, oh yeah, the marriage took over, and and that's a different whole kind of life. So there was no poetry for me. It was
Yes.
just living, being a father, a husband, and going through those trials and tribulations that can come from that.
Wow.
But
Wow.
yeah, but
Wow. And
thankfully, in my 50s, poetry came back. And I've
yes.
been going doing it ever since.
Yes, and honestly, brother, what was that time like? Like, even though you said you was working and family, what was that time like? Because it sounded like you was without poetry for a little bit. What was that time like? Was it a struggle during that period too?
I would be lying. I would be lying if I said it wasn't a struggle. I mean, even though I've worked all my life and things like that, but just the relationship aspect of it. When
Yes,
you're dating somebody, it's all fun and games. But when you become parents and when you get married, things like that changes sometimes. It's not fun and
yes,
games anymore. It's real life. It's real paying bills and getting bills paid and keeping food in the refrigerator and dealing with mistrust, dealing with broken hearts, dealing with your kids growing up and finding their identity. Because I wanted to be a role model, but I didn't want to force it on my children. So I had to wait
yes,
to see which child will gravitate to the writing or the verbal strengths that they may have had. So things that I can help them with, because I couldn't help them be a singer. I couldn't help them be a dancer because, I didn't do those two things. So
yes,
it's a struggle. And life itself is always a struggle. That's what makes poetry so prominent, because we're
yes,
always dealing with life, the decades that we live in, our elders lived in, our future children going to live in. We're able to convey that in words, and words last forever, especially if you document
absolutely,
it forever. It's like the Bible; it lasts forever.
yes, yes, absolutely. And I love that you're saying that words last forever. Um, how important? Because this is just a question that it goes align. It aligns with what we exactly talking about. But also, I want to get into speaking just about some more historic pieces about that connects with poetry. Also, like how important is Marcus Garvey for the movement of the people and poetry?
Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, James Baldwin, Malcolm X, John F. Kennedy, all those guys were so in, entwined with poetry, because remember, poetry is the dictation of the past. Poetry is the
Yes,
writing of the past. So all those great leaders, all those warriors we speak of, even when you go further than that, God, Jesus, so the poetry is that lineage, that language that takes
yes,
a guy from the present, a child from the present, and introduces that child to his past and directs that child to his or her future.
yes,
So yeah, so it's very important. Marcus Garvey, all the leaders that we had, because remember this, just like Brother Garvey, just like Martin, Malcolm, Meg, John, they always come for the poets first. When
yes,
they're ready to take us over, they always kill the voice. They cut the voice first. The
yes,
speaker, those poets, they kill them first
yes.
before they kill the rest. And there's a reason for that, because we have power. Just
Okay.
like I said, you know, just like I said, our words are important. Our words are important. So we have to be mindful of what we say. And if you ain't gonna live it, don't say it. If you don't want to be a leader amongst your men and your women, then don't talk like one. Because when they come for you, you can't say, "Oh, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it." You have to be able to stand your ground like our past leaders did, and die on their word, die on their conviction. You know. So yeah.
Absolutely, you're right. No, you absolutely right. Like you absolutely are right, and I'm picking up so many gems right now because I'm just understanding more as you talk. I'm like understanding more of life lessons, wisdom, and just um, things I want to incorporate into my own life that I may have misunderstanding about sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
no, I
thank
can.
you. So as we jump into what this entire conversation is about poetry. But as we dive into more deep depths of poetry, do you have a specific style poetry that you love the most? Is it haikus? Is it free verse poetry? Lyric poems?
Uh, yeah, I would say none of the above, because I'm a street preacher by heart. You know, my whole family was in the church. I didn't grow up in the church, but all my uncles were pastors, ministers, elders of the church. So I didn't grow up in the church, but I have that gift that they have, the gift of word. So I would call myself more like a street preacher, a spoken word artist, spoken storyteller, which I am today, which I monitor myself as today, a spoken storyteller, because I can tell these stories of the past, of my past, and and deliver it sometimes lyrically. Like I said, I'm not a singer, but you know, sometimes when your heart leads, when you lead with your heart, it can sound like a song. You know,
Yes.
to the beholder, it can sound like a song. So, okay, I'm done. Yeah, I would say that I'm more like a spoken storyteller, a street poet, you know, street preacher, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And and specifically specifically where is your poetry, like, do you know your poetry exact audience that you want to reach?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm always more comfortable with people of my own age and mindset, or at least 10, 15 years to the north or to the south. But I've learned, and I had a great experience. I think maybe like 20 years ago, I realized that I can reach the young as well. That young people were
Okay.
interested in my spoken word. You know, they used to tease me. My peers used to say, "Oh, William, come on, you're gonna do that old Negro shit." You know,
Yeah.
that's what they used to say when I get into the mic. You know, and I didn't get upset because yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna give you. But we could take out the word Negro, but you're gonna get some Black history. You're gonna get some Black church. You're gonna get some Black now. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
what's that candy now and later? You're gonna get some of that. You're gonna get the past. You're gonna get some now. You're gonna get some later. And when I
Absolutely.
realized that I could reach the young, that just turned my whole life around in terms of poetry because now there were no doors closed on me. Now, if I had to mentor at a school or college, I was able to do so and realize that
Mm-hmm.
they do receive my message.
Yes. 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 As they should. As they should. Absolutely. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Um, what was music like for you growing up?
Yeah, so I came up. Uh, first of all, I always listened to gospel. I was a big Sam Cooke and the Soul Stirrers fan. Mahalia Jackson. That's all my mother played. So we had to know all of the songs to that. We didn't sing it, but she would just play it over and over again. So it was like almost like torture. But that jazz, the blues, but mostly R&B. When the
Okay.
Motown thing hit and Stax Records and things like that, I listened intently because that was my healing through music. I would heal myself. If I was going through something with my parent, my mother, music would be my healing because I didn't have anybody to go to. I was the oldest boy, right? And I didn't have a father figure. So music was the thing that I can hide in my room, close my eyes, and listen to, and get that comfort. So
Yes.
oh, somebody said, Sam, for your blood, brother Mike. Thank you for your support. Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Always
like that. I
friendly.
like that. I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. I love it. I love it that brothers is tapping in because that just inspired my next question, right? And how important was the song from Sam Cooke, right? A change gonna come, and how poetic was that song in the time for our people?
Because that's all we've lived on since slavery. We've always lived on praying that a change would come. So you have those days, and they didn't sing R&B back then, but through their own chant, through their own prayers. We didn't speak their language, the white man's language. They had to teach us that language, force that language upon us. So we always had ways through whether it be the playing of the drums or beating on trees or branch or just chanting. We've always had ways to communicate with each other and let each other know that we're here now, but there will be a change. A change will come. First, that
Yeah.
change will be free from the slaves. The slaves sang of that. They didn't say those words. I don't know if they said those words, but you knew that's what they were doing, praying for a day when they would become free. And then when they became free, then they sang for equality, social justice, all the things that we're still fighting for. And with each decade, with each century of people, we still are saying and singing and praying for a change. Look at now,
Yes.
look at right now. We're still praying for a change. They're
Yes.
taking our vote away. They're taking women's rights, the rights to their own bodies. They are trying to go backwards, but we are trying to stay put and go forward. We're still searching for a change. So Sam Cooke was someone far beyond his years. He was a seer. Because a lot of his songs he wrote, he saw the future. And he wrote about it. Remember what I told you about words that last forever? So could the words to those songs. They last forever.
Yes.
And we're still praying for a change. It's been
Mm.
a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come to this day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And how detrimental are the times that we living in right now? How detrimental is the young youth? Look how they passing away. Like, what is the solid solution to get communities back on track to understanding one another?
Well, hey, listen, the solid truth is they're still doing what they've always done. The powerful, Blood Brother Mike is making some excellent commentary, but the powerful have always ruled by money and by the gun. And today's life is no different. I don't jump on these young men and women out here and everybody say, oh, they're not listening. And I don't jump on them because it's hard being alive in today's society, staying alive in today's society. They fill our neighborhoods with guns and drugs. What do you think is going to happen when you take away all the jobs and schools out of a community and you fill it with drugs and money? That's what's going
Yeah.
to happen. We're going to use the drugs and the money. But what they don't tell you is this, and I'm going to say this the way. We always think about change is coming. We say, how could we change? How can our community change? Our community ain't got to do a damn thing because the same things that happen in our community is happening in their community. It's just that they don't talk about it. You won't find that on the evening news. That will not be televised. You will not hear about those white kids taking all that dope and smoking and cracking, and you won't hear about that. That will not be
Yes.
televised. That's the revolution that is not televised. Their stories. Because the same thing that happened in our neighborhoods is happening in their neighborhoods. You know,
Yes.
so yeah. So I don't get on my kids like that. I don't get on these young people like that. Even when they use the name, the word, the title, the slur, nigga, I don't get on them. I don't tell them not to say it. I tell them to study and learn from whence that word, name, title, slur came. And that was the premise for my first book, my first ever book, The Nigga Chronicles, the mispronunciation of who I am. I'm telling
Yes.
these young people to not, I'm not knocking you. I love you. But I need you to study up and Google up and learn from which that word came. And if you still choose to use that word, name, title, slur as a term of endearment, so be it. But at least you'll know what you're saying and why you're saying it.
Yes. 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 Man. Impactful, brother. And I'm loving the
Yeah,
responses. Like I'm throwing the questions at you, and you just throwing the responses back at me, and I love it. I love it. I love
oh
it.
man, oh man. Old people,
Um,
us old people, we live for these interviews. Gives us something to do at 6 o'clock in the evening. You
absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. I love it, man. Man, listen, man. I'm glad to have you here. So, again, uh, most importantly, right? What is the most what's the most important advice that young brothers need to know right now, living in this moment, in these times right now?
I would just tell young brothers and sisters that you are not the problem. Everything you did and you're going through now, we did and we went through. You are not the problem. You are the solution. So for people like myself, the elders, we looking to these young black men and women to get past what they're going through now, because you're gonna go through some stuff to become a king. You don't just get crowned a king from birth in our community. You have to go through some things. You have to get dirty. You can't be a diamond. You got to be a piece of coal first. And once you shine up and get cleaned off and you become our leader, then we praise you. So my advice to these people, these young people today, is to know that you are loved and you are respected. Don't listen to what others tell you that you're not. Listen to the fact that you are. Anybody, any soul on this earth that appears to be in the likeness of God,
Yes.
skin of bronze, hear a wolf. You are a god, a goddess. Know so and continue to be so. So that your future behind you, your kids, your sons and daughters, your grands can walk a life of heritage. You know, that generational wealth is not just money. Gener-
Yes.
Generational wealth is the understanding, the love, the knowing your
Mhm.
heritage. You know,
Yes.
so I would tell them that. Just know that you're a king. Just know that you're a queen, a princess, a prince, and live your life that way. You're gonna go through some rough moments. You gotta
Yes.
live. That's life. That's life. But just know that there's sun at the end of that rainbow. There's a light,
Yes.
and it's your turn to go through it. I went through it. Blood brother Mike goes through it. Blue Rain is going through it. We all go through it because we know that
Absolutely.
there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. 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 And to touch base on another community note, right? Um, now you are currently in what, the city of New York City?
New York, Spanish Harlem, New York City.
Okay. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Um, Now I know you've seen a lot of different times, growing up and just throughout New York City, right? What I want to say is I want to really speak on like gentrification. How did gentrification affect our neighborhoods in the community?
Well, basically, it erased our past. You see, just like we live and we grow older, we wrinkle up, our skin changes, our hair gets gray. So that's what was happening to our communities, our neighborhoods. I mean, we
Yes.
loved our community. We loved the corner store, the bodegas, but they're getting old. And it was behind time. So when gentrification came, a lot of our leaders resented that, myself included, until I read up on it, I learned about it, and I took the pros and cons of gentrification. No, I didn't like that they took away our candy stores and all that, our neighborhood stores, and put in these big Krogers and these big malls and stuff. But I had to realize that I lived my life already. So when
Yes.
gentrification came and they cleaned up the neighborhoods and put cops on every corner because the white people are moving in, and they cleaned up.
Hmm.
Remember this with gentrification, when they fix up one new high rise for those rich white people, they
Yes.
actually have to fix up the whole neighborhood so that those rich white people will move into that big old fancy building. So without
Mm.
gentrification, our homes would still be dilapidated. We'd still be getting water through old rusted pipes. But because of gentrification, our whole communities have been restored and fixed up. You can walk on Harlem now on 8th Avenue after 8 o'clock and don't be afraid for your life. The street
Yes. Okay.
lights work. The street lights work. There's stores, there's bodegas, there's cafes all over 125th Street, all from the east to the west. So I had to learn to get up off my feelings, get past my
Hmm.
feelings, and think about my children and
Yeah.
their children, and know that they're
Yeah.
going to have a better community to live in by hook or crook. We may not like the fact that they're coming into our neighborhoods, but we like the fact that what's happening to our neighborhoods, I damn sure do. No more
Yeah.
abandoned buildings, nice buildings. I can get off a cab at late at night, and I'm 65 years old. I ain't got to look over my shoulder because I can't turn my neck anyway. But now I know
Yeah.
that there's a cop on every corner. I know that the
Absolutely.
buildings are very nice now, and
Yeah.
so it's the pros and cons. That's all I'll say to gentrification. And they can't take away our history. Remember this: they can close up the record shops, the neighborhood stores that we used to buy things from, the clothing, and they can do all that. But they can't take away our history because the books are still written, the writings are still out there, and people like myself, you and your generation, Blood Brother Mike, Blue Rain, we still have this. They can't take away our voice, not yet. Only God can take
Yes.
away. Only God can take away our voice. So our neighborhood still live. That's all I'll say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that being said, right? With being honestly, I want to ask this question. With being a 1.2 trillion dollar spending people, right? Um, why why is it that we are not putting the money back into ourselves and our communities and building back up that Black Wall Street that we all miss? We all talk about it, but why we not collectively doing that now?
You know. I'm gonna say this: when you have your black money, your pools, we had black banks. We had a couple of all black banks here in New York and Harlem, and the hierarchy shut them down. We've had things where we've had black We still have black community sales and things like that. But we as a people have been so diluted, polluted, polka dotted. Our melanin has changed from black to a shade of gray. So we're not all in the same mindset. We're not of the same goals. We criticize each other for being black, brown, black, light skin, black, cocoa black, bronze
Yeah.
black. So until that day comes where we can realize that we are God's child, there's no color. We are a people. So until that day, we won't have the success in pooling our money. And remember this now, they are still at the top. They are still raining down on us financially. You can't even get a permit as a black man to open up a food shop where you want to sell some oxtails and some black soul food. You can't even get a permit here in New York, in Harlem. You gotta go through rings and jump because the people that control everything don't want us to have food places where black people can get black food. They want us to eat what they're telling us and putting on our plates. That's killing us. They don't want to see the community strive in terms of black. Now, if I went there and told them my name was I feel like I'm, something like that, more Arabic, I would be able to open up a store and I would be able to do those things because that's how they separate us. So instead of them saying we gave the permit to someone from Yemen, they won't say that. They'll say we gave the permit to someone from Africa. And when I say Yemen, I should say Egypt too, because Egypt is in Africa. So they won't say that. They'll say we gave the permit to someone from Egypt, an African from Egypt, or someone from Yemen, a black man from Yemen. They will never say African American. So that's the code. Just like we have last names, that's the code. Our social security numbers are in code. They know if you're going for business. What's your social security number? What's your last name? They already know we're African American. They already know we're black. So that's why we can't. It seems like we're not trying to put our money in our communities, but we are, and it won't work until we get as one here. Until we all start thinking black. Then it'll work. But no, it's not going to work. Not in my time, not in your time. But maybe, hopefully, in our grandchildren, our children's time, I pray that happens. But I don't see it happening in my time. But remember what you said at the beginning of the show, a change is going to come.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just to touch bases on this is not a super deep question, but I know a lot. I know we always speak about this. I know me and you may look at it. Maybe we may look at it similar. Is black people the chosen people on earth?
Now I got to be careful when I answer that because I already said that we are in the image of God, the God we know. So already we have an advantage of being the chosen. But what happens with the chosen people are the most persecuted people. And that's what we're going through today. So a lot of black people think we're not chosen. They think that we're the bad things on this earth because we suffer the most. They don't realize to God's children will come those sufferings, but he won't give you more than you can handle. So we just have to live through it. We have to know that through prayer, poetry, whatever you do to get solace and to keep you going forward, that's what we have to concentrate on. We can't concentrate on what they're doing to us. Oh, woe was me. No, and you won't find that in my poetry. But I would tell my people how to be more progressive in their blackness.
Yes.
How to be more strong in their blackness. How to overcome those things that come with being black. Because to be so beautiful, there's going to be a lot of jealous people, a lot of jealous souls, and we are beautiful people. And black don't crack. I'm 65, and some people still tell me I look in my 40s. I don't know if they're lying, but I like that, and I understand what they're saying. That melanin makes us superhuman beings compared to the others, because everything started from black. And all these colors that we talk about whites and Puerto Rican, everything came from black. From the darkness came the light.
Yes.
So we have to remember we are chosen. I'll say it. We are chosen people, but I'm very careful in saying that because we are not a perfect people.
Yes.
Only God is perfect. So we may be chosen, but we got a lot of shit with ourselves too. We got a lot of scars and blotches and lumps and bumps and bruises. But we are the chosen people because eventually we are healed from all that, and eventually we will rise. They try to kill us, but we like roaches. You can't kill us. But when you kill us, you spray us dead. We're gonna multiply. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And personally, how much do you love your people? How much do you love black people?
Man, I love my people, man. I love my people to the point where I get mad and angry at my people because I love them. If I didn't care about black people, I wouldn't even write these poems. I wouldn't write no black poems. I would just write a poem. But I am proud and honored to write about black in my poems, whether it be black power, or whether it be niggas or rock. I am proud to write about blackness, whether it be about a black woman. I'm proud and honored to write about that woman being black. She could be the most beautiful white woman. I'll write about a woman, but when I really want to write, when I want to touch some soul, I write about a black woman. When I want to write about my children and our future, I write about black and brown children. You know, so I wear my blackness, black T-shirt. Sometimes I'm just all in black, black face, black skin, and I don't deter from that. I'm proud to
Yes.
write about black.
Yes. 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 Oh man, I love it.
I'm
I
listening,
love it. I
I'm,
love it so much.
I'm listening to all these great comments, man. Wait a
The
minute, I gotta
comments, the
slow
comments is
down,
excellent. The comments, listen, the comments is excellent so much because they don't even understand that they inspiring me to ask more questions. You inspiring me to ask more questions. It just coming off the top of the brain, but they inspiring so much, and I love it.
Can I just say
Thank y'all, brother. Thank y'all.
can I say one thing before we end this? You got to go to Blood Brother Mike, his page, follow him because he has a great early morning show where he offers the same type conversations around whether it be cooking or whether it be music because he's a musical historian. Blood Brother Mike is a musical historian, jazz, opera, the blues, R&B. That's why he knows so much about Otis Redding and Stax. You know, sometimes I concur with him just to get refreshed because he knows some things I didn't know. You know, so yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Blood, brother Mike, we gotta connect, brother. We gotta connect. And appreciate you, brother.
And
Appreciate
Blue
you.
Rain, and you follow Blue
And
Rain as
Blue
well.
Rain,
'Cause she is
and Blue Rain, we gotta connect to it.
that's my sister
Listen,
because we're black, we're twins. Blue Rain and I are
absolutely.
twins. You know, we have our blackness proudly. You know what I'm
I
saying?
hear that.
Yeah.
I hear that. I hear that. I respect it so much, and I love that in the comments they was requesting a poem, and I just want to know before we wrap up, can we get a small piece of a poem that's for the community, that's for the people?
Okay, let me see. For the people, welcome black. Welcome black to the day when the black community and black finance equal black power. Welcome black. Welcome black to the day when Big Mama was God, her daughter Mary, Auntie Martha, Uncle Joseph. No, I'm not reciting from the Bible. This is my story, oh glory. Welcome black. Welcome black to the day when the black man was king, his black woman his queen, his son and daughter prince and princess. Welcome black. Welcome black to the day when the black man had to get up early to go to work. Welcome black. Welcome black to the day when a black man had to get up early to look for work. Welcome black. Welcome black to the day when black love was non-negotiable and mixed marriage was antisocial. Welcome black. Welcome back to the day when we fried our pork and poultry and lard and seasoned our collard greens with salt pork flat back before hip-hop was rap, before the prophet Kyrie told us that the earth was flat. Welcome black, welcome black, welcome black. That's it.
Let's
Thank you, brother.
go. Let's
Thank you.
go. Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you
I
so
love
much,
it,
brother.
brother.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you, man. Thank
I
you.
love it so much, man. I'm
Yeah.
inspired, brother.
Thank
I'm
you so
inspired,
much.
man. Most importantly, where can the people find you at?
Okay, you can find me under my name, William Washington, 9231,
Yes.
on Facebook and Instagram. But also on Instagram, you can find me on one.on.poetry. That's the word one. One on poetry. I'm the host of that show. It's been running for the last 4 years, I think, since the pandemic.
Yes.
We're doing very well. A lot of these people that came in the comment section were also alums, people that I interviewed on my show. We're going to have
Yes.
you on the show as soon as you get a break in your schedule
Not
when
a
you can
problem.
come and be interviewed in one on poetry because I believe support begets support. You had me on your show. You had me in your magazine, Black Magazine 31. Is that the name?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
people get that magazine. Look him up. Support this man, Black Magazine 31. He interviewed myself, several prominent poets from Philly, And not just poets, but people, entrepreneurs.
Yep.
So yeah, check this man out.
Yep.
So, yeah, man.
Absolutely. Listen, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And listen, y'all, please tap in with brother, the poet, the strong poet, brother William Washington. I'm talking about the poetry is history, man, and I love it. It's history for the people, so I love it. Thank y'all. Tap in each and every week with King George. Listen, man, we could have your favorite poet, your favorite artist, your favorite doctor, your favorite lawyer. We could have the little girl down the street with the lemonade stand. It could be you. So please, y'all, tap in with brother William Washington. Do not forget. Peace and love, y'all. One.
Peace and love. Peace and love.